Tingnan natin. Hello, good morning. Good morning ba o good afternoon? Ay, kanina ang hirap makapasok yung audio natin. Hope sana ngayon okay na. Alam nyo ba mga kabonets, mga kababayan, parang nilinis na yata yung flood control case laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Ano kaya ang nangyari doon? Bakit napanood ko, sabi ni Congressman na itong nagpre-preside, meron kasing nag-walk out kahapon natatandaan nyo ba? Si Congressman, I think Abante. Akala ko Abante Forward March nag-walk out Nag-walk out. Kaya kaninang umaga narinig ko baka mag-walk out ka ulit. Ayun yung sinabi ng babae na congresswoman. Anong pangalan nito? Itong si attorney din ito Kaya napapangiti ako dahil nakangiti. Baka mag-walk out ka ulit. Ayun kasi yung banat niya kanina, narinig ko no walk out. Tignan natin gusto ko lang muna bago tayo magtuloy-tuloy, gusto ko sana na marinig kung okay yung audio natin. Ayun. Ang tanong ay, ang ganda sana hindi magbago yung audio ko dyan. Kikita pa yung cursor ko. Pbbm flood to. Teka, mali yata yung na-type ko Teka, ayusin ko lang mga kabonets. Flood. Comment po dyan kung okay yung audio natin. At samahan nyo po ako. Pakinggan natin itong part ng Senate hearing patungkol dito sa impeachment case laban sa Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. So, tingin ko kasi dito ay mababasura ka agad kasi nung nakaraan kasi nanonood ako, lalo na yung mga nag-file. Ang sinasabi kasi kapag walang matibay na dahilan o kaya'y matibay na pruweba para ma-impeach ang isang opisyal, ang mangyayari ay mababasura lang at hindi matutuloy. Mukhang ganito ngayong nangyari mga kabonits
Friends, please allow the chair to read.
Okay, i-play ko na lang, pakinggan natin credit po dito sa ayan, nanonood din po ako sa House of Representative hearing and sa mga ibang vloggers, content creator kung saan ako nanonood. Maraming salamat po sa inyo katulad ng Pinas News, maraming salamat. Ako po ay subscriber po sa inyo. So ang gagawin ko ngayon ay i-play ko ito tapos pakinggan natin po
Respondent benefited from kickbacks arising from budget insertions and ghost flood control projects. At this juncture, the chair elicits the comment, opinion, and reaction of the committee members.
Madam Chair.
Kickbacks may kickbacks pa.
Mag-walk out ka uli.
Hindi na.
Sabi na mag-walk out ulit, hindi na daw.
Kaya kasama na rin ako dito. But anyway,
kahapon kasi nag-walk out ilang tiyawan tuloy ngayon.
Ito lang sabihin ko dito. Nakalagay po sa ating rules.
Hindi na daw.
If it finds that sufficient grounds for impeachment do not exist, the committee shall dismiss the complaint and submit the report required hereunder. Ito po, it does not actually exist because everything that is said here is hearsay. Yun lang po.
Thank you. The Honorable Rodriguez.
Madam Chair, in this fourth act, which is alleged, it is clearly based on the fourth ground of impeachment, which is graft and corruption. The Supreme
Yes.
Court, in the case of Francisco versus House of Representatives, clearly already said that this is defined under the Republic Act 3019, which is the anti-graft code, the anti-graft law, which provides Section 3B and C. These are the main, if this is an allegation of a public official who receives kickbacks and from ghost projects and so forth,
Sana all
it should
no
be under
kickbacks.
this. And it is clear, Madam Chair, we have to therefore go whether there's a recital of facts in relation to, Madam Chair, Section 3B and C. And here we go. This is now what it says, Madam Chair. It says Section 3A, knowingly, deliberately, requesting and receiving money because of an important
Yung mga
project or
tumanggap
permit
dyan.
to be issued by the person. There is no allegation here, Madam Chair, that the President requested, that the President received money because he has a permit or contract to give. That is precisely what is stated here under Section 3A. Directly or indirectly requesting or receiving any gift, present, share, percentage, or benefit for himself or for any other person in connection with any transaction or contract
Wala,
between
wala.
the government and that party. The second one, 3C, also is directly or indirectly requesting or receiving any gift and so forth for himself and another in a manner or capacity that has secured or obtained this particular permit. So
Shout
there's
out sa
only
iyo,
two-
Rolando.
there are
Sabi
only
niya,
two
galing ni
provisions
Bongbong.
under
Drama
Republic Act
para
3019,
matakpan.
wherein, according to the
Oo nga
Supreme
eh.
Court, the fourth ground could be anchored upon, and there is no allegation here. Now, there is a statement here about Ako Bicol.
Ka Rolando, okay ba yung
This is
audio
a
natin?
narration of
Okay ba
fact,
yung audio
the
natin?
recital of fact. However, the problem with this fact is that it was delivered to respondents' allies. If you can look at this, not to the President. Now, this is an impeachment, proposed impeachment of the President. And then attached copies of the video expose. Madam Chair, the video expose is abroad, wherein we, in the later part, will have to hear this particular person has to be present. Otherwise, it's a piece of paper and a piece of video that is not allowed to be
Napansin mo
introduced in
din, no?
any
Parang
proceeding.
alam ko na kasing mangyayari.
Because we have to give the chance to the respondent.
Ay, ma-post ko lang saglit. Tulad yung sinabi ko kanina, parang alam ko na yung mangyayari lang itong hearing for the sake of deliberation na dininig, no? Na dininig. Pero ang mangyayari, tatapusin lang saglit, mabilisan eh. Kaya ito nga. Ito na, nangyari na talaga. Wala. Ngayon, yung totoo na mag-file ng impeachment complaint, hindi na tatanggapin. Bakit? Kasi may nauna na. Meron kasing ruling, according doon sa pag-intindi ko, na kapag hindi pwedeng paulit-ulit na maraming mag-file sa isang case sa loob ng isang taon. So ang nangyari, itong naunang si attorney parang De Jesus yata, napag-alaman ko din na kaalyado nila or nagtrabaho sa kanila, no? Correct me if I'm wrong, pero iyon po yung pagkaintindi ko. Pwede rin po ninyong i-verify yon kasi ang nangyari, natapos ka agad eh. Oo, end na yan. Basura kasi. Malala ng bongbong, niloloko tayo. Wala nang flood control script. Script pa more. Visiting time. Sige, tuloy natin.
That to question always. This is the cross-examination. This is the time to also provide the respondent the time to question, cross-examine the person who said that the money was given and he is not in this country.
The end
He's
na.
either in Portugal or Sweden. And so therefore, Madam Chair, once again, the fourth ground, which is respondent engaged in graft and corruption through kickbacks and ghost projects, there is no recital of facts that will constitute the violation of the Republic Act 3019. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
That is a significant discussion on graft and corruption. And of course, we recognize also the needed authenticity about the video of this expose.
Video.
The Honorable Vice Chair Dumogan.
Thank you,
Dumugan,
Madam
dumugan
Chair.
ba ng bagyo to?
Yes, on allegation number 4, respondent engaged in graft in corruption through kickbacks and ghost projects.
Kickbox, ha?
The allegations which seem to justify the said charge are contained in paragraphs 27 up to 32. Reading all these paragraphs, they do not
Shout out
contain
po sa
the
mga viewers na
narration
yun,
of
30.
facts that will
Tinapos na
pinpoint
agad
to
yung
the President
impeachment case,
that
ha?
will somewhat allude an illegal violation which is tantamount to graft in corruption. What had been stated here are allegedly given to certain allies. It's too vague and too wide to consider. So, looking at all of these allegations, clearly it does not justify the ground, again, to impeach the President
Totoo
on
yung
graft
sabi
and
ng
corruption under the provision of Article
isang
10,
political,
Section 11 of the
ay si
Constitution.
Mike Defensor yata yun.
Thank you, Vice Chair
Kung
Dumogan.
di ako
Our last
nagkakamali,
speakers
sinabing
for the fourth offense
tinanggap yung
the
pinal niya
Honorable
kahit
Acosta,
walang mga
the Honorable
sufficient
De Lima, and the
evidence.
Honorable
Kaya yan.
Colliantes. One after the other. The Honorable Acosta is recognized.
Tapos
Thank you,
yung sa kanila,
Madam
hindi
Chair.
natatanggapin
This is
kasi may mga
reiteration
nauna na.
of my two senior compañeros is the lack of the ultimate facts required for a charge of graft and corruption based on the 6 paragraphs of the number 4 allegation, Madam Chair. It mentions suitcases of cash and ghost flood control projects, but Madam Chair fails to provide 1, specific dates, 2, specific persons involved, 3, specific project names, and lastly is the direct links to the President's personal involvement in this case. Madam Chair, it is my humble opinion that these are generalities and broad generalizations, which according to the Supreme Court, in that case of Gutierrez versus House of Representatives, GR number 193459, are insufficient for impeachment, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Acosta. Next is the Honorable De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As to this fourth ground, general ground, graft and corruption, and the main specific allegation that allegedly the President benefited from kickbacks arising from budget insertions and ghost flood control projects, with 4 sub-allegations. 1, Pbbm orchestrated insertion in GAA for kickbacks. I agree with the Honorable Acosta that it lacks specificity as to what, how, and when, making this a conclusion rather than a factual allegation. The nexus again between the factual allegations and the ground of graft and corruption was not established due to the lack of specificity of the allegations in how Pbbm orchestrated the flood control scam for kickbacks, other than by sweeping statements that are more of conclusions than allegations of specific acts. Sub-allegation number 2, suitcases of cash were delivered to Pbbm's political
mali-mali
allies.
ito.
Again,
Saan na?
lacks specificity as to who, what, how, and when. Sub-allegation number 3, the ghost flood control projects confirm plunder of public funds that is not possible without Pbbm's approval. This is a conclusion. rather than a factual allegation. The fourth and the last sub-allegation for this ground is PBBM is allegedly the central figure in corruption schemes. This is again a conclusion rather than a factual allegation. In all of this, in light of the evidence uncovered, I just wonder, in light of the evidence uncovered in the multiple fora investigations conducted on the flood control scam, medyo kapos talaga sa allegation yung complaint. It seems overly complacent for the complainant to be sparing in his factual allegations as to establish the ground for impeachment. For me, Madam Chair, there is simply paucity of factual allegations. Again, this
Paucity?
is insufficient.
Sabi niya,
Thank you,
falsity,
Honorable De Lima.
False.
Our last speaker on the
Parang
fourth
alam ko na yung
offense is
mangyayari
the Honorable
dito, eh.
King Coliantes.
Madam
Malinis
Chair,
agad eh.
I'd just like to manifest my support for all of the comments said by our dear colleagues. But really, the question right now here is,
I did not expect my diagnosis. I just focused on
Yan, right, no? Kung pinapakinggan natin mga kababayan, mga kabonets, anong masasabi nyo doon sa mga comment nila? Kasi ang lumalabas, nakulang na talaga sa evidence para suportahan yung mga allegation. Ayun po yung nakikita ko doon sa mga... Aha! Ay, may lumalabas pala dito. Dapat hindi muna nakikita yun kasi, no? Yun yung nakikita ko eh. Yan, palampasin ko lang muna yun. So, hope na hindi ko alam kung yun din po yung nakikita nyo. Pero sa bandang huli, malilinis ito. Lilinisan talaga to. Oh, and then madidismiss lang. Pagbobotohan nila at madidismiss lang. Ngayon, ano yung susunod nilang gawin? Tingnan natin. Ha? Ano yung susunod nilang gawin? Pwede nilang ituloy ulit yung pangalawa.
are these just conclusions made by the complainant, or are these really based on fact? Remember, we have to go back to the verification, which says that all of his allegations must be based on personal knowledge.
Personal
Thus,
knowledge.
the complainant have personal knowledge. Was he there when these alleged transactions
Baka mamaya
happened? Does he have any
lalabas na pa na
basis
hearsay.
based on authentic records to say that money was transferred, money was provided to the president? I doubt it. So I think based on what is written on the complaint, it is insufficient as a ground for impeachment. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Coliantes. That concludes our discussion on the fourth offense. Now we are moving to the fifth offense. Please allow the chair to read. Respondent created the ICI
Oh,
to
tulad ng
shield
ICI.
corrupt allies.
Perhaps
So,
allies.
this is the offense, and the same is anchored under any, some, or all of the following: graft and corruption, culpable violation of the Constitution, and betrayal of public trust. At this juncture, we elicit the comments and opinions
Wala,
of
ang
the
labas nito, maano
committee
talaga.
members. First, we
Madismiss
recognize
to.
the Honorable SDML Lawrence Defensor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would have to speak. I'm compelled to speak for the membership of the ICI regarding this allegation that it was created to shield corrupt allies. Madam Chairman, the appointment and participation of the members of the ICI, particularly Secretary Rogelio Singson, whose integrity and reputation speaks of good governance, contravenes the allegations by this impeachment complaint head-on. hindi ka maglalagay ng mga taong naging ehemplo ng mabuting
Ehemplo.
patakaran at pamahalaan kung ang balak ay pagtakpan ang korupsyon. So the membership itself of ICI, a presiding justice of the Court of Appeals, an SGV partner who is a partner on audit, and someone like Rogelio Singson, who is a model for good governance, clearly runs
sino kaya itong
contravene against this allegation in the
Sino kaya itong si Rogelio Singson? Anak kaya ni Governor Chavit Singson? Ay, nagtatanong lang.
creation of the ICI. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable SDML Lawrence Defensor. The Honorable Franz Legaspi is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to give a very short manifestation to take note of the evidence or the annexes presented. The evidence in the annexes presented. For me, and this is a general observation as well with the earlier topics, but in particular for this ground, there are a lot of evidences the sources are only media outlets, news sources, and I think this was generally already noted by the our members of this committee. But in this particular ground, these articles are, I think, 4 opinion columns, mostly predicated on the opinions of certain personalities, certain characters, and I think in relation to the particular ground that the complaint wishes to state, I believe I think it's clear the betrayal of public trust with regard to the creation, or rather the ICI's creation, somehow affecting or resulting in a loss of public trust, which would, in this case, be a ground to impeach the President. I think it's very clear on that part that the evidence presented is not directly related to that particular ground, and also it's also vague with regard to the metrics or how it could match or say that there was a betrayal of public trust or that the trust ratings are affected by the creation of the ICI. So that's my humble submission, Madam Chair. For me, I think this is just based on this ground is already insufficient in substance as well. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Legaspi. We are on the last offense. This is
Last
the
offense.
allegation that the creation of the ICI is used to shield the allies of the impeachable official. The Honorable Vice Chair Dumogan is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, it appears that this is one of an allegation that is not at all supported by narration of facts. In fact, as we all know, aside from what had already been stated, the integrity and
Walang
competence
silbi pala
of
itong
the members of the
impeachment
ICI
na nakapoint.
appointed can disprove this fact. Second, they have investigated all those that had come to their attention related to corrupt implementation of projects, which clearly disprove the allegation that it has been created to shield certain allies in government. So it's far, far away from establishing a legal violation which is considered as willful violation of the Constitution as an impeachable offense. Your Honor, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dumogan. Any other comment or manifestation from the members? The Honorable Po.
Madam Chair, the creation of an anti-corruption body in and of itself is not an impeachable offense. Now, there's an assumption in this grounds that it was used for shielding. However, what we actually have evidence of in terms of the ICI's actions is that its investigation included both allies and non-allies alike. Its recommendations also had both allies and non-allies alike. And if we're going to discuss further, I would caution our colleagues on finding substance in this, because we do not want to discourage future anti-corruption efforts. We don't want to discourage future transparency efforts. What we're discussing is the willful violation of the Constitution. But what we have here
Anong masasabi mo?
on record is the willful act of the President for transparency and
Kaya Bayan,
accountability.
Joe.
That's what we have objective fact on. So I just want to make sure that we are not dissuading efforts for transparency and accountability within our government by finding substance in this.
Madam Chair.
Ano yan?
Thank you. The Honorable Rodriguez.
Madam Chair, I take exception to this particular ground for impeachment. I personally know a former Secretary of Public Works and Highways,
Oh, sino yan?
Rogelio Babe Singson. He was already congressman of the 2nd District of
Babe
Cagayan de
Singson.
Oro. And he often comes to Cagayan de Oro to be able to look at projects. And during his time, and even up to now, there are no ghost projects in Cagayan de Oro 2nd District, nor any substandard project. Now, he would not accepted if this is a shield. And he would not have continued until he, because of health reasons, has to therefore resign. But during the term that he was there, together with the SGV representative and former Presiding Justice Reyes, it was clear that they were able to invite and get documents. And some have already been recommended for filing. If this were a shield, then there would have been no action of the ICI. But there were many already given to the Ombudsman for investigation and preliminary investigation. So therefore, this is something that it does not give justice to those who have already been appointed and had worked on this particular
Wala na.
ICI. And so therefore, I personally know the former secretary, and I was very happy that despite the
Luto
fact that,
na.
you know, he has been retired, he's retired, he took the job because he believed that the ICI can make a difference in stopping all of this flood control mess, and then be able to send the proper cases and documents to the Ombudsman, which is the jurisdiction over cases of graft and corruption and plunder. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Oh, anong mangyayari?
Thank you. Next is the Honorable Lord Ansuan.
Malilinis na yan. Wala
Madam
na.
Chair, the body of the complaint does not contain any express provision in the ICI's charter that limits investigations only to political
Nangyari,
opponents.
ganyan lahat eh.
Nor does it contain any
Pabor sa Pangulo
any
lahat eh.
instances of limiting of any instances or policy or rule exempting allies. In fact, I remember that even the president's son was summoned to the ICI. Nor does the complaint state any rule by the ICI which bars or obstructs any investigation against allies. And I have seen several instances in which supposed allies of the president were summoned to the ICI. To emphasize, the president has the authority to create ad hoc investigative bodies to ensure faithful execution of our laws. And saying so, the ICI is only a recommendatory and fact-finding body. Furthermore, allegations of political targeting are only speculative, and bad faith cannot be presumed. They must be proven with particularity.
Yung sinasabi ko eh, kulang na kulang talaga sa attachment eh. Parang sinadya talaga para talagang hindi na matuloy itong i-ano ko muna, no? Yan. Yan yung aking opinion at pag para masabi lang na counted one. Alam niyo yung ibig niyang sabihin, para counted one na talagang may impeachment na dininig.
The Honorable Garbin.
Oh. So,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
wala na tayong asahan dito. Asahan natin dito. Asahan na lang natin dito is
Of such body like the
nalinis.
ICI.
Linisin to.
Falls within
Buti
the
hindi na echo yung boses natin, no? Yung audio. Oh. Medyo umikot siya. Bakit kaya? no? Kasi ang nangyari dito, lahat ng comment ng mga congresswoman ay pabor doon sa Pangulo na insufficient para sabihin na mag-push through. So, kung pagbobotohan nila, madidismiss yan. Okay, malapit naman na.
President's executive and administrative discretion, which we have
So ano po
constantly
yung masasabi nyo dyan sa nangyari niyan? Medyo umiikot na yung net natin. So I think
regarded as political question, and which is outside the ambit of this honorable body. Be that as it may, the complaint likewise does not allege ultimate facts showing abuse, unlawful purpose, or concrete acts of favoritism directly attributable to the President. Absent specific evidence demonstrating selective enforcement or deliberate shielding of particular individuals through identifiable presidential acts, the allegations, Madam Chair, remains conclusory and cannot sustain a finding of an impeachable offense.
Thank you. Any
so understood na to, no? So anyway, maraming salamat muli. Ito lang po mga kababayan, no? Maging mapanuri po tayo sa mga lumalabas sa social media, sa stream media. Alamin natin ang totoong pangyayari, katotohanan, dahil meron po tayong karapatan. So karapatan natin na malaman ang totoong katotohanan. At ito pong mga nangyayari ay di maiwasan talaga. Malinis na wala na So ibig sabihin madidismiss yan. Anyway, maraming salamat po sa suporta at hanggang dito na lang muna. Kung meron kayong nalalaman about dito sa flood control case ni Pbbm, feel free na put your comment below. So wala na. So dito lang muna ang live natin. Maraming salamat sa mga hindi pa nakapag-subscribe. Please do subscribe and like. Click the notification bell para anytime mas